Hello, this is Brian Houle. I am a solutions consultant with Beyond 20, and today I want to look at SLAs in Cherwell Service Management version 8. I think SLAs are one of the more elegant implementations in Cherwell Service Management, and they're all data-driven, so we can run them entirely from the client tool without going into the administrator tool, updating blueprints, or changing structure. So very briefly, SLA stands for Service Level Agreement, and it is an agreement between the IT organization and the business for things like resolution times for incidents and service requests, and it is a contract of sorts that sets expectations for IT service delivery. And Cherwell is a useful tool for handling that. So here we're on the main dashboard, and we can here see that we have widgets for SLA responses and SLAs resolved on time, how many have triggered a warning, how many have triggered breach. But let's look at how we set these up. So to begin with, we can go in and we can set a new service, and attached to that service, we can have an SLA. So that means, for instance, our email service will have an SLA perhaps. Customers can also have SLAs. So we can have groups of customers or individual customers that have their own particular SLAs. And also in the system, individual configuration items can have an SLA. So if a particular server goes down, that's going to be different than an SLA for somebody calling in on their computer. So let's take a look at SLAs in the system. So I'm going to go do a quick search here, and I'm going to find our SLAs. So to do that, I'm just going to build me a little search here, and I'm going to go to SLAs, delete them, and we'll click go. So out of the box, we have a number of SLAs predefined. So we have bronze, corporate, desktop management, email service, gold, platinum, primary server, and silver. So we're all kind of used to the gold, platinum, silver levels, and those are customer SLAs, right? So you might have customers that pay a little more to have perhaps a faster response time, or perhaps the nature of their work in the business requires them to. This may also change by time of year. For instance, if you have a finance department and it is near the end of the fiscal year, well, their SLA may become a little bit more aggressive towards the end of the fiscal year. We have service SLAs here, one for email and one for desktop management, and these are examples of individual services that have their own SLAs. And finally, we have a configuration item for a primary server. And then here we have the corporate SLA, and this is our default SLA. So if, for instance, if we have an incident or service request open, and the calculation does not match any of the other kinds of SLAs, well, it will apply this one by default. So let's have a quick look at this corporate SLA. This is our default SLA now. So we have a SLA owner. We can track number of breach incidents against this SLA, number of open incidents against this SLA. And over here we can see the status is active. We have a start date, an end date, a review date for our SLA. Now these dates are a little old, as you can see, but so services are living things and they do evolve. So we do want to set a review date periodically. Some of these advanced options, we're going to allow stop the clock. So in this SLA, when this SLA is applied to an incident, we can tick this box, and that ticket can then go into a pending status, which essentially allows us to not count the time that the ticket is in pending status against the SLA resolve times. Check for errors on save. That'll just run through the attached elements to see if they're there, and disable target time wizard. That is for this guy down here. We can create our SLA target times in a wizard interface rather than just setting them ourselves in a single form. So here we can set, for instance, a subscription level. We can set SLA type here, and that just lets us know what we are in for. Our description, our scope, a priority group helps us determine when we're setting priorities for the on the incident that this SLA is attached to. Helps us determine what priorities are shown. And all the magic kind of happens down here. So we have our SLA target times that we can set. And these are based on ticket priority and ticket type. So if it's an incident level 1, I might have a slightly different SLA, a set of SLA target times than I would for a service request priority 1. So we have priority 1 incident, priority 1 service request, priority 2 incident, priority 2 service request, and so on. And over here is the anatomy of a SLA target time. So we have our priority, our parent type. We can set this against work hours. And as you can see, priority 2s are going up against a 24/7 clock. But if we go down the priority scale a bit, here we can see that this priority 3 incident is up against an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday clock. So the time calculations will stop at 5 p.m. and start up again at 8, and will cease on the weekends. So they end at 5 p.m. Friday and begin at 8 a.m. Monday again. So that way you don't have tickets breaching over the weekend when nobody is working. But as you can see here, we can set our response time. So after the ticket is submitted, how long do we have to respond to the customer to say, yes, we have your ticket? Resolution time. How long after the ticket is submitted do we have to resolve this? And as you can see, if we go up to a priority 1, well, that resolution time gets much tighter. Priority 1s are usually all hands on deck, 24/7. But, a priority 3 incident, we might give ourselves 3 days to resolve. They're sort of less imperative. So I'm going to skip priority matrix elements for now, but this is essentially how we set our priority groups and how we set our urgency and impact. But we'll cover that in a different video. What I did want to move on to is to show you how you can attach customers' configuration items to our SLAs. And then finally, this other tab shows us all the incidents that have been applied with this SLA. So this is our corporate SLA. This is our default. I'm going to pop out here for a second, and I want to look at one of these customer SLAs. Let's look at this gold one. So it's for sales in the IT department. And if I look deeper, I can see that I have individual customers attached to this SLA. So when a ticket comes out with, say, Janet Owens, well, she's going to get this gold SLA. And so we can kind of test that. I'm going to open a new window, and I'm going to create a new ticket. And so I'm going to enter in a couple of test things here. I'm going to pop this open. Let's see what Henri Bryce gets. So when we pop up Henri, we look at our ticket, well, he gets the gold SLA. Pretty cool. So let's pop out again, and let's see what else we can find. How about Christine Day in operations? Well, not in sales or IT. So we click OK there. Christine gets the corporate SLA, not the gold. However, if I were to go in and add Christine to this gold SLA, well, let's see what happens. So if I go in here and I'm going to search, well, let's see, D, there she is, Christine Day. In operations, she's now added to that SLA. I'll click Save, and when I go back to my other window, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new ticket, just for fun. When I go in and select Christine Day again, there you see, she has her gold SLA applied. Very cool. Now, if we go back to our SLA list and look at this desktop management SLA, you'll see we have a services tab that appears when we name it as a service SLA type. And so the service name is desktop management. We can add one or more services in this tab, and when those services appear on a ticket, that SLA will prevail. So let's see what happens when we have somebody with a gold SLA, but we apply the desktop management. And save. You'll notice the gold SLA prevails. All right, so let's see. Let's go out of here. So even though the ticket is categorized for desktop management, the customer SLA prevails over the service SLA. How about Eric Cox? See what happened? When we changed the requester, he has no gold SLA attached, or perhaps probably no customer SLA to begin with. So the service SLA prevails in that case. So if we change this up, say to account management, something that doesn't have a service SLA, you'll see the SLA changes to the default corporate SLA. But if we switch to another service that has an SLA, email and calendaring, look at that. There we have our email service SLA prevails. So there you have it. So we have the default SLA, we have service SLAs that will trump the default SLA, and then we have customer SLAs that trump the service SLA. Next, what we can do is then go into our primary CI field here, and let's go for servers. And what we can do is see which one of these has an SLA attached. So let's pop out of here for a second and go back to our SLA list, because this is our last kind of SLAs, the configuration item. So these assets, these configuration items in our system have SLAs attached to them. So let's look at 4386. So if I'm on this ticket, I'm going to pop out here and I want to show all, and I want to find 4386. It is a domain controller. So if I click OK, well, if poor Eric is having a problem with this domain controller, well, we don't apply the default SLA. We don't apply the service SLA, but we do apply the configuration item SLA. And there you have it. So it's very easy to create and configure SLAs in Cherwell Service Management, and we can attach them. We can have a default one. We can attach them to customers in various levels, various service levels. We can apply them to services that require different service levels, and we can apply them to individual configuration items in our configuration management database. Lots you can do with Cherwell Service Management around SLAs. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more Cherwell videos.